Mets magic continued on Monday night for the New York Mets against the Pittsburgh Pirates. A walk-off victory. It was sloppy. It was back and forth. It wasn't the prettiest game, but a win is a win is a win is a win. And your New York Mets now are tied for the most wins in Major League Baseball at 27. They are 27-15. They have the most wins in Major League Baseball at home. Home cooking at Citi Field as the Mets are 16-4. My goodness, what a season this continues to be. It's Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. You are watching Mets Daily. I'm your host, Jake Brown. Make sure you smash that thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to Mets Daily. Share the channel below. Appreciate it. Click that thumbs up. Comment below how you feeling about this team. What did you think of the game last night? The errors, the base running, the runners in scoring position struggles again, but in the end, they're scratching out wins. A lot of one-run losses, but more one-run wins and more wins in general for a team that has 12 games over 500 and has a 2.5-game lead on the Philadelphia Phillies in the National League East. Follow me at Jake Brown Radio. Follow the show at Mets Daily Show. And listen, they went up against Paul Skeens last night. That's a game you expect maybe the Mets lose, but David Peterson dealt along right alongside him. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 7 strikeouts. David Peterson's ERA is 3.05. He continues to shine. Skeens gives up 1 run, and who scores that run on him? Jeff McNeil, an RBI double, who we'll get into a little bit. Jeff McNeil homered against Skeens last year, RBI double this year. And then the Mets take advantage against that Pirates bullpen. They win 4-3 on a Pete Alonso sac fly. And Pete getting the bucket, the gum bucket, that bubblicious bucket. BBL, the bubblicious bucket, on top of his head after the win, and that's what you need there. Runner at third, hit a fly ball. Yeah, the Mets got a little help from the Pirates and their defense. The Pirates got a little help from the Mets defense. Luisangel Acuna, a rare error at third base, probably would have thrown the runner out at home in that 9th inning. Again, a classic game where, yeah, they blew it, but why? Diaz unavailable, and you get it. He's not going to pitch 3 days in a row, but you see what happens, and for the people who don't like Edwin Diaz, when he is not in, it's trouble for the Mets. And Brasilbon's been amazing. I'm not going to knock him. And again, there were some defensive errors, but Edwin Diaz is critical to this New York Mets bullpen success. Every time he's not out there, and it's a one-run game, you're in trouble. Stanek blew it twice. Brasilbon blows it last night. So it's a sweat when he's not out there. So they need Edwin Diaz all year, and they got to manage him right. You're not going to pitch him back-to-back, but there's going to be times they're going to need him back-to-back. Like I said, a lot of close games. And, a lot of close games, and Jeff McNeil's a part of those close games, and Jeff McNeil's here to stay. I think a lot of people want Jeff McNeil gone. I hate Jeff. He's unhappy. He's bad for the locker room. Look what happened when he got here. Jeff McNeil's making contributions. He's hitting the ball, and Jeff McNeil's going to play, and I get if you don't like him. I get he has unlikable qualities. I get Acuna should be playing every day. Well, you can make it work and make Acuna play every day and still play Jeff McNeil because he's got lucky so far. He hasn't had a lot of balls come to him in center field, but McNeil's been fine in center field. He hasn't messed up. Again, hasn't had many challenges yet. So until we see a challenge for him at center, we saw a challenge for Brandon Nimmo last night. He made a catch to save a home run that might have saved the game yesterday. We haven't seen that yet from McNeil, but it's working just fine with him in center. So keep it rolling. Keep playing Acuna. DH McNeil some days. You're going to have days you DH Vientos. There's a lot of options, and making that lineup every day is going to make someone mad, whether it's a player, fan, or both. But I think Mendoza, for the most part, lineup-wise, has been pushing the right buttons. You're seeing a little bit less Marte. I mean, it's a lot more righties the Mets are facing. But you're going to see less Marte. You're going to see more Beatty, more McNeil. And listen, Jeff's been key. I know his numbers aren't flying off the page, but he's getting hits almost every game. I mean, Jeff McNeil, the RBI double yesterday, his last start, he had a home run. The game before, he had an RBI triple. So every game, McNeil's in the middle of these comebacks, in the middle of these scoring, situations. And people got to realize he's here. So let me know in the comments below. Do you disagree? Do you still not want to play Jeff McNeil? He's under contract. They're not going to trade him. No one wants him in a trade. He's owed $16 million next year. Jeff McNeil's not getting traded. But I think you got to play him. And I think at the bottom of that order, he's really helping. Luisangel Acuna, despite the error, it's like every time Acuna messes up, he makes up for it. And that base running play where he's the only guy on this team maybe that scores on that ball that gets away from the third baseman. He rounds third. Now, it was only a close play because he paused rounding third, but even with the pause, he slid under and scored. Now, the catcher did a terrible job not blocking the plate, but listen, the Pirates are terrible, so they're going to do some terrible things, and they did some terrible things. But it seems like every time Luisangel Acuna does mess up, he makes up for it. Also, whenever he's on first, can he steal? I know there's a lefty in and he didn't go, but I want to see him run anytime he's on first base, no matter who's on. He did get picked off once. Got to correct that. I know that's something that happened in spring training a few times. But otherwise, Luisangel Acuna is in the middle of everything. And what he does on the base pass, Acuna Matata means no worries for the rest of the Mets days. It's must-see TV when he's out there. So this is a world where we need to coexist of Luisangel Acuna and Jeff McNeil playing almost every day. And McNeil will probably play, 5 times a week, maybe 6. He's not going to play every day. But Acuna's got to be playing 6 times a week. You give him a day off a week, fine. But 6 times a week, I want Acuna out there at second base. And, he's at third in the end there. And listen, that Pirates run on what could have been a double play if the Mets were playing, a normal defensive infield on that Lindor, the ball to Lindor. Lindor throws it to second. And, Lindor made a mistake in the night. Again, a lot of errors, funky game, but, a weird game, but a good win for the Mets. And, we talk about this team and the pitching and what do they need. Well, they got guys getting promoted left and right. 104-mile-an-hour right-hander Ramon Gomez has been promoted to Brooklyn. And so has Matt Allen. You remember the name Matt Allen because a couple Tommy John surgeries, hasn't pitched at the professional level in a very long time. And Matt Allen, his last time pitching professionally was 2019. Well, he's back this year. He's on his way now to Brooklyn, and so is Gomez. Allen in 7 starts, 15 innings. He has a 3.6 ERA thus far. Gomez has been lighting it up. In 13 innings, just 1 earned run thus far, 20 strikeouts in those 13 innings. And like we said, 104.5 mile an hour for Ramon Gomez. He is a name to keep an eye on for these New York Mets. Another guy to keep an eye on, I didn't put on here, is Dylan Ross, who's been promoted to Double-A Binghamton. Now, Ross in Single-A this year, 10 games. He has a 1.454 ERA. Out of the bullpen, another guy who throws over 100 miles an hour, throws 101 miles an hour. So you got 104 throwing Ramon Gomez going to Single-A. Maybe a year, 2 years, he's 23. You see him in the Mets bullpen. You got Matt Allen going to Brooklyn. Maybe in a year or 2, you see him on the Mets. You got Dylan Ross going to Double-A. Another guy, maybe in about a year, you see him on the Mets. Arms are in this system. So, when you talk about maybe it takes a Blade Tidwell to get a trade done, I think he's a guy that has to become expendable. You're not holding on to all these pieces. So when you start to look at who's getting promoted, who's not, you got to start thinking about what pieces are expendable for the Mets. And Blade Tidwell might be one of those guys. You might want to keep him too, but at some point you got to trade someone. And I don't think they want to trade Sproat. I don't think the way Jonah Tong's pitching, you really want to trade Tong unless it was a frontline starter you're getting. But you got to keep an eye on who's getting promoted, who's going where, and who's expendable. And at some point, the Mets, these guys might have to be expendable. But these pitchers, great to see. This was an organization you were worried about the minor league depth about maybe 2 years ago. I think that's changed. I think this minor league farm system is in a really good place for the Mets. Gilbert, Ryan Clifford is hitting home runs left and right. Ryan Clifford is a guy that, if the Mets did not bring Pete back, and I think if I said that to anyone, they would hate me, and I think you got to bring Pete back. But the Mets have Ryan Clifford in the back of their minds. The guy's got 6 homers, 19 RBIs already, and an on-base of 345 in Double-A this year. So he's a name to keep an eye on. Gilbert, Jet Williams, all these guys. So all good things happening in the farm system. All good things happening for your 27 and 15 New York Mets. On Tuesday, it's Kodai Senga on the mound, who's doing a good job speaking English. They put a video out. He's trying to speak English. He's doing a good job. So shout out to Senga. Senga versus Keller tonight, Citi Field. Mets looking to take the series already from the Pirates before a much-needed off day Thursday, and then Subway Series. Let us know. Are you going to be at the Subway Series? I'll be there all weekend. Mets, Yankees, will you be there? Let us know in the comments. What do you think of the farm system? Let us know in the comments. Jeff McNeil, the Mets, anything you want in the comments. We'll read your answers to those questions and comments on tomorrow's Hump Day Mets Daily. And, of course, orange and blue skies. Let's go, Knicks! 1 win away from the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go, Knicks. Let's go, Mets. I'm Jake Brown. Thanks for watching Mets Daily. Smash that thumbs up in this video. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.